So I got my APC, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also storage facility.
Nice.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I didn't realize I had a fourth one.
It's crazy. I think I gave like $90 for mine.
For your Zartan?
Uh-huh.
Holy moly. Well, we'll talk about that. I think every one of these I don't have $20 in.
Oh yeah.
And they were all parts of lots. I'd never, and then it would just be like, oh, I got another Zartan with a good O-ring.
My Zartan's in good shape. He's in a little acrylic.
You know, I sure do like podcasting about G.I. Joe stuff on G.I. Joe Chronicles and Outpost on the Longbox Crusade Network.
You know, I do too. If there's only a way we could do it without microphones or computer screens, in person.
Well, Jared, have you ever heard of Kentucky?
You want to solve this with fried chicken? I mean, I'm not against it.
No, I mean Shepherdsville, Kentucky. They host a nice little one-day G.I. Joe toy show called Winterfest. The next one is on January 24th, 2026. I say we have a Joe Podcast community meetup there.
Still not sure where the fried chicken comes in, but count me in. Let me see if I can find some KFC coupons.
While Jared does whatever Jared does, let me remind you listeners that G.I. Joe Winterfest is on Saturday the 24th of January, 2026. The location is Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Website is GIJoeWinterfest.com. Jared and I would love to meet the listeners of G.I. Joe Chronicles and Outpost and any other Joe podcast while we're there. We're even going to set up a meet and greet dinner for after the show on Saturday.
Not if I don't find these coupons.
All right. If anyone's interested in joining us for dinner, send an email to contact@longboxcrusade.com. So again, G.I. Joe Winterfest is January 24th, 2026 in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. And our contact email is contact@longboxcrusade.com. We'd love to see you there.
Buy 2 biscuits for the price of 2 biscuits. What kind of coupon is that?
Cobra! La, 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 la.
And that sound means it's the start of another Missal for the masses. I am your host, Gary.
And I'm Casey.
And this is the Chaplain Sisters Motor Pod. This is the podcast that's centered around the vehicles, playsets, and even trailers of the G.I. Joe Real American Hero toy line from 1982 to the present day. We also talk military and adventure toy lines from other makes, but mostly we center around the 1982 to 1994 3 3/4 era of the G.I. Joe Real American Hero toy line. So, Casey, how you doing this evening?
Doing pretty good. You?
Hanging tough. And but hanging tough because we've been hanging with blokes from down under. And one of my other favorite places to visit is the swamps of Florida and New Jersey. So tonight, one of the most, I think, influential characters that came with the vehicle. So this one's kind of a stretch, but yes, this wasn't carded, so it's not like Stalker's 1989 Stalker's kayak. This is a vehicle because it came in a box. This is the Swamp Skier that came with Zartan from 1984. So the Swamp Skier is also known as the Chameleon. And, we start like we like to do. We like to start off with the box, what we saw on shelves in 1984. A 12-year-old Casey, can you describe what you see on the box?
I see, at the time, it was Zartan, really cool figure. Well, it looked like he's riding a cricket. Me and my brother called it a cricket. We didn't call it a chameleon. We didn't call it a swamp skier. We called it a cricket. I don't know why. Kind of looks like one. Uh, but I, they're hitting us early with these are the dreadnought colors. So uh, doesn't look very comfortable. Zartan looks great on there. I'm looking. I'm trying to see. Yeah, it's actually got a little bit of the explosion back there because I was thinking it didn't have any of the explosion background, but it does behind him.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably what we would call the first of the deluxe figures in the G.I. Joe line. Basically, the figure comes with a small vehicle. So Zartan is the first. You get Serpentor in 1986. You get Destro in 1988 with the.
Yeah,
We covered it. Oh gosh, what is this vehicle?
it's not the spoiler, is it?
Yes, it's we're leaving, and I'm leaving that in. Yes, Destro's the spoiler. You get Overlord and his dictator. You get stuff like that. To some effect, maybe you could say the Triple T and Sarge, but really, the Triple T is a cheap vehicle for the most part. But this is really the start of like quote unquote the deluxe figure. And Zartan was originally designed to be a carded figure, but for whatever reason, being on card wasn't going to work out. So they released it as a box. So it must have had something to do with the chameleon not fitting on a bubble good or something.
Did you have him as a kid? Did you have this?
I did not have this as a kid, but I remember, and if I remember correctly, so this would be kindergarten for me. And I want to say it was a kid named Raymond Osborne, and he had Zartan and Destro. And I remember being so jealous of him in the lunchroom, like, oh my gosh, I wish I had these guys. And it was like, oh, it was so cool with, the color changing
Mm-hmm.
and everything that, yeah, I mean, this was my 5-year-old little mind was like mind blown. So, yeah, absolutely, you know, I wanted Zartan for a very long time. And at this point, you know, uh, without getting into the character too much, because we do have to go into that in a few moments. But like the character was so huge in the cartoon,
Mm-hmm.
so huge in the comic book. He's the figure alone is an absolute must.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the Zartan box, I mean the Swamp Skier box, you know, in a big yellow burst like Cobra the Enemy, it says Zartan and Swamp Skier change colors. And you get underneath the G.I. Joe logo, Zartan the Enemy with Swamp Skier in parentheses, Chameleon. Sunlight and temperature changes affect their colors. You get see back painted for actual size. You have a little blister window so you can see your actual Zartan figure through the window on the box. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. We have the back of the box. We get the Master of Disguise is out to spy on G.I. Joe. His name, Zartan. His strategy, he changes colors to conceal his true identity and blend in with his environment. We'll go around the box. We get in an inset, Zartan disassembles Chameleon. And then, so in that picture, it shows the Chameleon all apart inside the little box. The box is riding on its skis. And then we get to the main picture of the Chameleon. 2 position handlebars. Most figures can ride on Chameleon. You know why it says most figures, right?
No.
Deep Six, 1984.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Terrible figure.
Yeah, we haven't covered the shark yet, folks. We will. Coming eventually. We get actual size. We get seat changes color. We get removable face mask can be stored in backpack. Front skis pivot side to side. Super realistic detail. Rear skis pivot. Snap together assembly. Detailed battle prints inside explain fully how a real chameleon would operate. Add them to your command file. And also, once again, want to give a nice shout out and thank you to 3D Joe's and Carson Metaxas for hosting good images for Casey and I to look at as we discuss the chameleon. And also, this was a 2 flag point toy. So, we know 1 flag point's a figure. What do you think about 2 flag points for this?
Definitely worth it. Do we know what the cost was when it came out?
That will be easiest to find on yojoe.com.
I believe this foul card is Zartan's original foul card too. It's a schizophrenia.
So original retail was $4.20 for the Swamp Skier and Zartan.
Not quite double.
So you're getting value on your flag points, folks. Yes. So yes, the schizophrenia. We should probably touch on that a little bit when we discuss Zartan. The front of the box sold me. You know what I mean? Like this thing's, it's kind of like a jet ski. It's, it's like a crotch rocket jet ski. I don't know how else to put it.
Now, does it go on land too or just water?
Well, I mean, I think we can find that out and we can discuss that after we go over the blueprints.
Okay.
But yeah, skis. I mean,
I played both ways as a kid, but
so you had this as a kid?
yeah.
Ooh, so this will be a good one. You know what this also could be with the skis? A snow vehicle.
Could be, yes.
I mean, Quick Kick doesn't need a coat in the Arctic, so
Nope.
Neither does Zartan. All right, so a little bit of a background before we start talking about, because our next stop is to talk about Zartan, and Zartan coming out in 1984. He was designed by, Casey, you care to guess?
Mark Pennington?
No, Mark Pennington came on a little bit later, but this was one of Ron Rudat's original character designs.
I felt like Ron Rudat would have been too easy of an answer. I felt like maybe I was getting set up.
I set you up. I try to give you a softball, Casey.
I fell a trap.
That's just like Zartan.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, I'm getting my information from volume 6 of 3 3/4 Joe, also known as Creating G.I. Joe by Dan Klingensmith, creatinggijoe.com. Excellent resource. Get sets while they last. And if you can't get a set, get an individual book. They are not being printed anymore. So once they are gone, they are
gone.
I only say that because I am a very satisfied customer. And there's also other behind the scenes stuff in each volume.
And plus, he's just such a good dude. Dan's such a nice guy.
Yeah, he really is. He's a really nice guy, and talked with him for a bit at Joe Fest, and wealth of information. Digging all this stuff up, and he's got even more that he didn't even publish.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the book, you got concept sketches from Ron Rudat, and the first shows him in the disguise with this beard thing, and it looks almost like a Motu villain. Looks like something like that. He looks like a Visionaries character or something, or even like Thundercats, just ethereal, like Dungeons and Dragons. I like the visual. I like the just the overall aesthetic. It's not all too different. It's different enough, to put it this way, from what we ended up with Zartan. And we get some color studies of Zartan at the bottom of the page. And one of them shows like Zartan going plaid. I'd love to see 1984 Hasbro. And actually, this would have been Spaceballs, the figure. You know, when they go plaid.
Yeah.
We also get in the book the original card art with Zartan busting out of the Hector Garrido explosion back,
Mm-hmm.
and model sheets and stuff. I'll read off the original file card. So it starts off Master of Disguise, code name Zartan, file name unknown, aliases too numerous to list, birthplace unknown. Zartan can alter his skin color at will to blend in with his environment. He is also a master of makeup and disguise, a ventriloquist, a linguist, over 20 languages and dialects, an acrobatic contortionist, and a practitioner of several mystic martial arts. Very little is known of his background and origins, but most security agencies agree that he must have had European military academy training, probably St. Cyr. Psychological profile: extreme paranoid schizophrenic. Grows into various multiple personalities to such an extent that the original personality becomes buried and forgotten. Casey, so far any thoughts on Zartan's file card?
No, but well, I guess one thought is taking that file card. Did Larry Hama write that?
It's 1984. I would heavily assume that Larry Hama wrote that.
Because I was thinking he did because I feel like that's the way he wrote them in the comics. So it's one for one. It's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's a great prototype for what we would get in the comics, because this is still a little bit more about the toy,
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate that. It's about color change. But in the comic, he becomes a little bit of a supervillain. He eventually morphs into that, and I would say rather quickly.
But I'm just saying he laid down the groundwork with 20 languages and the acrobat and all the martial arts really come into play later on.
Yeah. So later on, so they're like Casey spoiled. There is a second version of the file card that basically is the first part of the file card. A little bit different, but I'm not going to bother rereading it. But from Dan Klingensmith's books, after a mental health association got upset regarding the statement, extreme paranoid schizophrenic grows into various multiple personalities, Hasbro went ahead and did a running change on the file card. The Mental Health Association felt as though this created a misconception about mentally ill people being violent and hostile. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 1984 was the era of parental groups getting a little too involved in their children's activities. A little bit of helicopter parenting. Not in Casey's case, apparently.
Nah,
Just buy him any old action figure. Don't worry what's on the box.
just trust me to have my own thoughts.
Yeah, what you really don't know is that I get nighttime Casey. You should see him in the morning. He's a completely different person. It's a different personality.
I've been up all day.
Yeah. Well, so have I, and now I'm getting into overtired mode. So my schizophrenia is coming. But let's talk about the figure real quick. I mean, it's really hard to not say how great Zartan is. But Zartan, he's a 1984 figure, swivel neck, not a ball neck. He's got brown pants with black boots. His right boot has a dagger on the outside of his ankle. He's got black and clear thigh pads over his right and left thigh. He's got a black belt. He's got a torso wearing with basically what I like to call a roost protector, and it has a clear plastic shield over the front of the chest. That front part of the roost protector comes off. The back part is molded onto the back piece. His shoulders are covered by like an armor, which would also be part of like the roost protector, and he's wearing black gloves. He has black eye makeup. He has white eyes with no pupils. He's wearing a brown cloth cowl type thing. I don't know really what it's called. He comes with a small laser pistol, would almost be considered the de facto laser pistol of the Sunbow series. And he has a backpack. It is like a short coffin shape. It flips open to reveal his mask, which basically, my friends and I used to call it the Jesus mask because it kind of looks like the Catholic Jesus up on the cross. Also, when you open up the backpack where you put the helmet, you do have a little bit of like detail for like makeup or something for attaching the mask or just touching up, his looks. Casey, what do you think of the Zartan figure?
I would say it's top 10 to me.
Yeah.
It's a great figure. A lot of great memories playing with them. Plus, I mean, he was great in the comics. He was great in the cartoons. He was a total psychopath and resolute.
Yes. One thing I forgot to mention is the thigh pads and the breastplate. They come off, and they come off because you're supposed to have color changing decals that go underneath them. And so it's like the pads change color. But then for the skin color changing thing, the one other notable thing about Zartan and his siblings, Zorana and Xandar, is the torsos are glued. So if the O-ring breaks, it's going to take some effort and surgery. There's plenty of methods on YouTube to look up on how to pop open the chest. But yeah, Zartan character, yeah, absolutely top 10. Figure, this was a top 10 figure for a very long time for me. One of my favorite figures of all time. But the one thing that I hate about the Zartan figure is the fact that it has a glued torso.
Mm.
So anytime I came across one that was intact, I held on to it. So that's the reason why I hoarded 4 Zartans with, intact O-rings. One of the things like Zartan, because here's the problem: Zartan number 2, Ninja Force. I'll admit, it's not exactly his best look. They could have done something, a little bit different. I think it's still a cool figure. He's carded waiting for the day I do a live stream opening.
I got him at Joe Fest. Ronnie brought him all the way from Australia to give to me. So I have version 2. And in hand, I like him better than I thought I would.
Yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of the Zartan of the Ninja Force gimmicks.
Me either.
If it was a regular figure with no gimmick, me and my 90s love, I'd be like, yeah, I love it. Give me more 90s Zartan. But as it sits, not really. And and the worst part is I still want more more version. I want 2 more V2 Zartans because I want to play with one. I want to try to take it apart and see what I can do, what I can use, if I can custom a good O-ring version too. But the other thing when we get to Zartan, and I'm just going to quickly scroll on yojoe because it does have the fastest way, is Zartan version 3 from 2001.
I don't know. I don't even remember what he looks like.
Yeah, so they basically took the Saw Viper body from 1990 and painted it version 1 Zartan colors.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. It's not bad.
It's not bad, and they basically did a remold of Zartan's head. So you got a nice ball neck Zartan head.
And you can change the O-ring, right?
Yes, and you can change the O-ring, which to me is important.
Yes.
But that brings me to the Zartan that we just recently got with the Soundwave, the Thunder Machine Soundwave. And because we got a proper version 1 Zartan that has a proper O-ring with a proper screw that properly takes apart, because I don't at this age I don't need a properly color changing Zartan. The classified one by far. I mean, the first 2 classified versions of Zartan, absolutely,
Yeah.
dingers. But the O-ring Zartan that came with the Soundwave is my must-own Zartan figure. For a modern collector, for somebody that wants to display Zartan, not worry about breaking thumbs, breaking heels, breaking waists, losing the decals that go under the things, and just have a display-ready Zartan. I am a huge fan of the O-ring, the retro O-ring line from Hasbro. The only people that can do it as well is Super 7, only because they have the license, and they are doing an okay. They're doing a pretty good job. But still, to mimic something the podcast from the pit says, Delta 17 right now for the line, they're the closest you can get to the original 80s O-ring toys.
Yep.
So, well, that was a long way of saying. So Zartan as a figure, yeah, must own. 5 swamp skiers.
Oh yeah.
He's a must for every Joe collection, just a figure. But so you had the swamp skier as a kid, Casey, but today, right now in your house, how many swamp skiers? No.
0.
Casey, you got some toy shows coming up. You need to pick one up.
We'll see.
We'll see. I got to convince you of that. So let's go back to 3D Joes. Let's go back to the swamp skier itself. Let's go back to the blueprints with 13 wonderful talking points about the Chameleon. We get to number 1, the rigid high strength front skis. We get 2, the twin position padded handlebars. We get 3, the lightweight polycarbonate tube frame, which I really like that. I really like the fact that tube frame, because the gimmick of the swamp skier is it's designed to come apart and be put back together again, all these different pieces. So, and for the most part, it doesn't wear out while doing it. It's actually, I would say this is a robust little thing. And honestly, Casey, your description of it calling it as a cricket, genius. I love it. It actually fits.
Yeah.
We get to number 4, the 1x Z12A microjet engine. I just like the fact that they got that small turbine engine in there. That's so James Bond. It's so bonkers. It's, like the jump jetpack. We get to 5, the fiberglass shell, which is basically the seat area of the Chameleon. You get to number 6, because you need to have it, right over the back, right on the back, you get the fuel inlet. Basically, it's like a motorcycle. It'll be right over the rear fender. The fuel filler inlet. You get number 7, the nitrogen filled rear shock absorbers. So, okay, we got shocks. 8, the leaf spring rear suspension. Then you go to number 9, the wide dispersion ink sprayers. That's right out of the James Bond playbook.
Oh yeah.
You get number 10, the high flex laminated rear skis. 11, the high capacity water nozzle. So it's this little nozzle on the front of the swamp skier that's actually part of the front ski mold.
Yep.
You get number 12, the welded aluminum armored towing container. So that's the little green box that you put everything in. And then number 13 is the ski mounts, which are the little pegs on the side of the container. So that's where you take the rear skis off your Chameleon and you put it on the box. Not surprisingly, not on the blueprint is the tow rope. It's this little T-hook green piece of plastic
Yeah.
for Zartan to manually pull the Chameleon swamp skier box. The swamp skier box, I mean, this is just a little fun little toy.
Mm-hmm.
It blends James Bond and Mad Max. It really sets the vibe for Dreadnoks. What do you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, we played with this a ton when we were kids.
So you were saying, I only saw it in the toys or in the cartoons as being over water.
Mm-hmm.
Can't and it really hasn't made a lot of comic book appearances, but again, in the comics over water. So
Yeah.
how did you play with the swamp skier as a kid?
Water or land. It was all terrain to us.
Yeah, it's almost funny, like with all of this, break apart toy thing, they didn't put like little wheels.
Right. And we lost that part early because we never used it. We always just kept the cricket the way it was.
And I'm just looking, I have it in my hand now, and I'm just like, it looks like a little insect. You got the little head, the handlebars are coming out like antenna, and so you have the head, then the seat, this little ridge section right here in the center, which you might call the seat. That's the abdomen, and then the rear fender type thing is a thorax.
Yeah.
You got it right so well. On the side, you got this sticker, and I know it's a chameleon, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking Geico Gecko,
Yeah.
but the sticker on the side of the front of the chameleon looks like a raccoon humping a lightning bolt. Just that's what it looks like. I'm sorry.
Oh.
It's it comes apart easily enough, and the little mini jet engine, I just like the fact that it's made up of 3 pieces from the factory, and as I just dropped my rear skis to the ground, it's made up of 2 halves, and that wasn't enough. So they gave it a centerpiece with little ridging detail
Uh-huh.
to be like a little turbine.
Yep.
And then you don't really get detail for the exhaust of the jet engine. But the sides of the jet engine, you have little detail for being like, pipes and, componentry of the jet engine. And it's just so swell. I love it. It's just so full of little detail for what should be a nothing toy.
Yeah.
The front skis have that little water cannon. I think if it wasn't skiing on land and you're skiing on the water, you can you'd have like a little tube that goes in the water, so it just sucks the water out of the swamp and squirts it at muskrat or the eco warriors, and it just comes apart so nice.
Yeah.
I just took it apart, not breaking it. Has nice little bit of friction, and
It's a fun toy. Like I said, play with it a ton as a kid.
yeah, just you got the suspension detail and just yeah, it's small, this really is a dreadnought toy. I wouldn't say this goes to a Cobra Trooper or a Viper or anybody. Like you wouldn't put Destro or Baroness on this or Cobra Commander, but it's totally a dreadnought thing. So
Yep.
when I think of the swamp scare, right, and I love the fact that it comes apart easily, and it was a gimmick for 1984. But you have to do a podcast to remind people it came with a box, and the box came with a tow rope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that part of the toy didn't get exposure in media.
No, I've never seen it in the comics. Never seen it in the cartoon.
And then the funny thing is, this predates the Dreadnoks by 1 year. So
Mhm.
this is setting like a prototype for what is to come in the GI Joe line for when Road Pig finally exited the chat. So I mean, just a neat little thing, and it belongs with that first, that 85 and 86 run of Zartan, his siblings, and the Dreadnoks. It's just it works.
Mhm.
Casey, how many swamp skiers for your collection do you think you would need to have?
I don't have any, but especially after doing this one, I definitely gotta get one. Gotta get Zartan his.
Yeah, Zartan definitely needs his, and I think the original trio needs one each too. You got to give one to Ripper, Torch, and Buzzer. These things, they're not that bad. Of the set of Zartan and the Swamp Skier, Zartan is much more the grab of the set.
Mm.
And the Swamp Skier itself is kind of affordable. It's not, I'm not going to say it's like a $50 vehicle, but it can't be more than $20 to $30, if you have all the pieces. And then you don't need the box and you don't need the rope. The rope is one of the most expensive parts because the T hook at the end of the rope breaks. And the last one I sold years ago, the T had split on one side, and the piece was just holding on by the skin of the plastic.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, it's still complete for now, and that's when I'm going to rehome it. And I rehomed, I think just that. I don't think I rehomed the. If he came with a Zartan, it was a busted O-ring Zartan. Earlier, I said, I hoarded the Zartans because they're just so hard to find. And now that we have the retro O-ring, is now that I have them out, it's like, what do I do? I ask myself, do I need 4 Zartans? And the answer is no, I don't. So I'm going to have some tough decisions to make in the near future. Anything else you want to talk about the Swamp Skier? You want to go rate it?
We can rate it
Out of 5 microjets.
5. It was a lot of fun. A lot of great. Like I said, if a toy can make me think back to my play patterns with it, it's gonna get a high rating.
I'm going to say this. I'm more excited about Zartan with this toy than I am the Swamp Skier. And unfortunately, Zartan casts a large shadow. I'm going to give this another 3.5 out of 5. 3.5 out of 5 microjets. I think it's solid. I think it belongs in just about every collection. But Zartan's shadow just diminishes it, as cool as it is. And that's where I'm at. And Casey, you can tell me that I'm wrong.
Hey, it's all opinion based.
All right. Well, and that concludes this Missile for the Masses. This has been the Chaplain Sisters Motorpod, and thank you for listening. The Chaplain Sisters Motorpod is hosted by Spotify for podcasters and is also found on many of the other popular podcatchers and YouTube. Please like, share, review, comment, or otherwise interact with them, as it only helps to improve and grow this podcast. For more Chaplain Sisters Motorpod, you can find me on social media at Chaplain Joe Pod on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube, or you can send an email to chaplainjoepod@gmail.com.
And you can find me, Podcast from the Pit, on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok.
The Challenges System Motorpod is the strange but not estranged nerdy little brother of the Pint, a pop culture podcast. And I'm not saying that because Casey is threatening me with TikTok dances now. With all of that said and done, one final missile for the masses. Be decent to one another.
Take care, everybody. Anything else I got will be show until tomorrow, which is pretty much what I've already said.
Yeah, that's fine. And yeah, people can listen to you, twice, because this one's not going to come out until the week of August 11th.
Hey, that's my daughter's birthday.
Oh, happy future birthdays, Casey's daughter.
She'll be 31.
31. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
To be 31 again.
Yeah.
And that closes us for another disguising. I'm trying to come up with something funny to close it out, but I think I'm running a little dry. Oh, okay, fine. I was leaving it open for you.
I can't think of anything funny either.
All right, yeah, it's you look like you're prepping for your morning show anyway. So all right.
No, I was trying to find a gun for this guy.
Which guy is that? I'm sorry, I got you in the most minimal of screens right now.
Snow Serpent.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, another beautiful classified figure.